Hey there, welcome to the first part of our video series, Christianity is True. Thank you so much for joining us. I just had a great time tonight. I got to share my story and how apologetics impacted my life and my relationship with Jesus Christ. And whenever I get a chance to do this and I get the chance to talk with students, inevitably I run into students afterwards who are kind of asking me the same question but from a different angle. I run into students who admit that they have a lot of questions and they have a lot of doubts, and they never really felt like they've gotten good answers to their questions and they're looking for something more. Sometimes I run into students who say, you know what, I've never really had these questions, but if I'm honest, it's not that I don't have questions, I've just never thought about it. And the more you talked about college and the number of kids who walk away from the faith and the number of those kids who admitted that it was because nobody answered their questions, and then hearing your story about meeting an atheist kind of got me thinking I probably need to prepare myself for the next level. If you take these two different students, these two different categories, and you boil it down, I think they're asking the same question. And the question is this: what's next? Whenever I was asked this, I usually would recommend a book, something that a student could go and read. And I think this was valuable, but the more and more I thought about it, I thought, that's kind of a big ask. I mean, to take somebody who has never really heard the word apologetics before, pretty brand new to this idea, and then to have them go read a 250, 300 page philosophical book on apologetics, that's kind of a big ask. And so what I wanted to do was create a bridge or a segue, something that would take somebody who's maybe never really had a chance to study apologetics, to give them just an introductory information. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an online resource. It's going to be 5 videos. Each video is going to be 5 minutes long, so a total of 25 minutes. You can watch this, you can share this, you can just kind of introduce this idea. But we want to just introduce people to the idea and the art of apologetics. Before we get to the information of apologetics, I really want to set some general guidelines. And to be honest with you, I think these general guidelines might be even more important than the information of apologetics, because I think it helps set the framework for what we're trying to accomplish here. And so a couple of the guidelines I want to talk about. The first one is that we need to see apologetics as a tool and not a weapon. Apologetics is designed to help the unbeliever come to belief and for the believer to know why they believe what they believe. Apologetics is to help people. It has never been used to hurt people. We need to make sure that apologetics is not out there to attack people. And usually when I see apologetics done poorly, when I've used it poorly in my life, I've seen it fall into what I call the 4 A's. Apologists become argumentative. They're more concerned with winning an argument than winning a soul. Apologists become autonomous, where they teach that the only thing that people need is answers and information. I think apologetics is extremely valuable, but I also think there are a lot of things in spiritual formation that are important that the believer needs in addition to apologetics. I think sometimes apologists can become too academic, and what I mean by this is that they want to sound really smart and they want to wax eloquently, and they're not really concerned about conveying information. And then finally, I think apologists need to make sure that they stay humble and that they don't become arrogant in their approach. Apologetics is not necessary for salvation. Somebody doesn't need to know why they believe what they believe to become a Christian. I do believe it makes you a more effective witness. I believe it makes you stronger in your faith, and I think it's an amazing resource for the 21st century, a generation of people who are questioning the idea of truth. I think one of the things that's important as we do this is not to just assume that Christianity is true, but to really look at the evidence, look at the historical evidence, look at the reasoning behind it, and I want you to follow the evidence where it leads. I believe that if you look at all the religions of the world and you look at the evidence and the reason behind it, you will see that Christianity makes the most compelling case. I don't believe that we can answer it with 100% certainty, but I believe that Christianity far outweighs the other. I believe that it would take more faith to believe another religion as true than it would to believe Christianity is true. I think in our discussions with people about our faith and why we believe what we believe, we need to make sure that we are validating our statements. But not only are we validating our statements, we need to make sure that others are validating their statements as well. So if somebody wants to say that Christianity is not true, or Jesus never rose from the dead, or the Bible is false, we need to challenge them and say, you can believe that and you can say that, but what made you feel that way? What evidence do you have to support your claim? How did you come to that conclusion? We really want to put the burden of proof on the person making the statement. And then finally, I think we need to recognize that we need faith. The Bible talks about faith, however, it does not call us to blind faith. It is important that we have faith, but not blind faith. If you have any questions, comment me. You can reach me on this site.